Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right, so Paul Reed, the Philadelphia 76ers did, in fact, match that 3-year deal. And from what I understand, the Jazz sent it back to the Sixers with a strange contingency attached to it, which is something I've never heard of. But basically, if they win the first round of the playoffs, the Sixers are now going to have to match his not match, guarantee his last 2 years on the contract. That is crazy. That is absolutely nuts. Because essentially, his contract, I think it's for $27 million, not a year, but like in total. But that's something that they probably did not necessarily want on there. If you're the Sixers, that's not what you had on there initially. That's not what you often see with offer sheets when they're signed. Uh, I'm shocked because the Philadelphia 76ers are going to have to be now for $14 million over the tax just for matching this contract. And I just don't think the Philadelphia 76ers really needed to do so, given the fact that they just signed Montrezl Harrell and Mo Bamba. Now, one could argue that this is the year to have more bigs on your team uh, than normal, only because of the insert of such massive teams that are coming about. So I understand doubling down and tripling down on large players, but the type of large players that they tripled down on, I just don't understand Philly's thinking here. Paul Reed, Montrezl Harrell, Bamba, and Joel. You only need one of them on the floor at one time. Now maybe Paul Reed you consider a forward. I like Paul Reed. I keep him if I can, but Bamba signed a 1-year deal hoping he could be featured. He ain't gonna get no playing time in this situation. Not very much. So yeah, I am. I don't think the Sixers are a bad team right now. If I look at their roster, I like the players. Picking up Patrick Beverly could be a nice little boost for the team. Um, so I don't know how it all sorts out when you consider George Niang is now gone. Shake Milton's gone. So I don't know. D'Anthony Melton, I believe, is still there. So it's a little cloudy to me in regards to their team. I think they're still obviously looking at the James Harden situation and probably looking to get a return for him that's pretty substantial in nature. Maybe picks, maybe some players. So I don't know how that's going to have their roster looking in the end. If it push comes to shove, they may need that big after all. Who knows? But just kind of a strange free agency for the Philadelphia 76ers. Um, yeah, not really sure what they're doing there. And well, for the Jazz, I think you look at that situation to feel a bit better if you're rooting for guys like um, Taylor Hendricks and Kelly Olynyk, because they could potentially see a lot more playing time with Paul Reed not joining the fold. Um, and you got to wonder if Danny Ainge ever really wanted Paul Reed on the team in the first place, or was he just trying to stick it to an old foe that he's dealt with a lot of the time in Philadelphia? Um, Very strange stuff here there with the way that whole little contingency was placed on his contract for the Sixers staff to honor. I'm sure Paul Reed was happy to see that there. I'm sure he was very pleased to see that the Jazz were willing to do that for him. But the Philadelphia 76ers never would have agreed to that. And when they saw that on the contract, I'm surprised they still matched it. But it's I don't know what's going on there. It feels like a tug of war, to be honest with you. It feels like I don't know. It feels like there's something going on behind the scenes there. But whatever the case may be, Paul Reed, hopefully the Philadelphia 76ers get out of the first round, which you have to think they're going to do with Joel Embiid on the team and Tyrese Maxey having a guarantee. So I don't see the Philadelphia 76ers missing the playoffs, and I do think that they're normally expected to get out of the first round with the MVP on the squad. So, yeah, Paul Reed will do his part. I'm pretty certain if he has a big role, he's going to continue to play well because he's done that now for the duration of the season, which is why they matched him, I believe. But I just think it's a really curious thing that they did there, having Trez on tab with Bamba behind Joel and then matching just seems a little strange to me. Um, but I think that may speak to Tobias Harris's role on the team and how much longer they expect him to be there. Um, Given the fact that he has an expiring contract with an absorbent amount of money, I'd imagine that might be on the move. And if it is, they may see Paul Reed as a forward that they can kind of plug in if for some reason they're not bringing one back in a trade. So, if you look at, like I said, if you look at Paul Reed as a forward, then maybe that's the way to go. But I'm not really sure. I know they lost George Niang, so I gotta have that in mind. I believe he's a stretch four, so maybe there's a little bit of a bigger role for Paul Reed with him exiting. So I guess I'm trying to run through their roster, but I really don't know it that well. For all I know, they drafted somebody or had something come through in the undrafted market that they should be excited about. It's not clear to me what they have right now. So yeah, that's pretty much that, man. What I told you guys I thought wouldn't happen because of the $14 million tax, extra that would have to be paid on top of this matching. I just assumed that Philly's owner would just say no way. But that's not how they're moving out there in Philly. They don't mind paying a little tax money. I don't believe it'll be worth it. It never is for Philly because the moves they make are never quite good enough to be paying all that money out for most of the time. But it is what it is, man. Philly's still trying to kick the can down the road. I'm not a fan, so this is what I rep over here. Y'all know what it is here, so it's like whatever. We got y'all in 2001. Don't matter. Paul Reed was a player I wanted on this team to a degree, but we also understand now that we never were in position to get him. Not for what he ended up getting. Heck no, that was never somebody we were looking at. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about that. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.